the
trough.
Yeah, it's a big circle, right? And you step on it. Yeah, right. So I'm washing my hands in there. Did you all like live really close to one another?
Yeah.
When
you know how.
So you got a lot of cousins, buddy.
Oh man. For 20 years, I didn't like the way I look or felt. Right. The kicker was when my doctor 2 years ago told me I had high blood pressure, and so I asked my friend. I noticed he was losing a lot of weight. His energy was up. And I go, what are you doing?
Every choice we make starts with one thing: how much we trust ourselves. Trusting yourself isn't just about gut instinct. It's about self-esteem. When you see yourself clearly and believe in your worth, trusting your inner voice feels natural. But when doubt creeps in, your trust falters. In this episode of the Who Project, we're diving into the first pillar of the Truth framework, trusting yourself, and exploring how self-esteem shapes the way we listen to and act on our own voice. Today, I'm sitting down with Ted Falcon. Ted, thank you for joining me on the Who Project podcast.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, absolutely. Listen, the moment I heard your story, I was inspired, and I thought immediately, listeners and the community I aim to build with the Who Project will be inspired by your story as well, right? And it just blew my mind. At random how we met, and from that moment on, I've been watching your videos and your socials, and I've just been totally inspired about what you've been able to do, and how you've changed your life. So I want to set the stage for how we're gonna navigate our way through this conversation today. I want to talk about family first, right, and the impact that it has on how we navigate our own lives, right? And then I want to talk about the Truth framework. And I don't know if we've spoken about this, right? But I've created this Truth framework, and today's podcast is going to tackle the T in Truth. So it's an acronym, and Truth stands for trust yourself, root in your core values, understand your narrative, transcend your limiting beliefs, and harness your superpowers. So today, I thought, what better way to tackle this one with you, with trust? Because, I look at it and think to myself, this guy saw the man in the mirror and decided a change needed to be had, right? And I really want to dig into how you did that, right? Did it, what was it? Was it, your self-esteem, or did you start with your self-perception, or was it just fear, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, it's really interesting to take the conversation there today.
Sure.
But before we dive into what you did and how amazingly you did it, I want to just start with family, right? I believe that every Canadian is an immigrant, right? With the exception of the indigenous people of this country, right?
Right.
And you heard me say that so much of what our family, right, the time that we spend with our family, how much it navigates our lives. I want to hear from you, like, where's home for your family, right? Let's start there.
Yeah, both my parents are from the Philippines, right? My dad is he calls himself a Manila boy, so he's a city boy.
Yep.
But my mom is from the province, one of the provinces in the Philippines. So even though they're both from the Philippines, very different upbringings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so did they meet in Canada, or did they meet
in Canada?
Oh,
Yeah,
they
were both the first ones in their families to immigrate to Canada, with the idea that get settled here and then bring the whole family over. And they were both the first ones over. But they both immigrated to Toronto, and back then in the early 70s, a lot of Filipinos were immigrating to Toronto, and they were the first ones to immigrate from their families. So they built up a little community, and they just met other Filipinos, and they just met that way.
So you're a Canuck. You were born here.
Yes, I was born here, born and raised. I was born in Windsor, Ontario. Boy. Lived there for the first 11 years of my life, and then we moved to Scarborough in 1985. Okay,
so answer me this question. Filipino descent, Filipino parents, right? New immigrants to the country. What was it like growing up as a Filipino kid, in Canada during that time?
Yeah, so yeah, I was born in 1973, right? So, and like I said, born in Windsor, and Windsor at that time, in our school, I went to a Catholic school, but it was predominantly white, right? And we there was a couple of us Filipinos. I think we had one black girl in our class. So I grew up with mostly white people, and I remember in I think I was in kindergarten, and remember this vividly. In Windsor, we only had kindergarten. There was no JK or SK, right? So Windsor was kindergarten. I think I was 5 years old, and I remember walking to school, and this older girl, maybe whatever, grade 7, grade 8, just jumped in front of me and called me chink.
Wow.
And, I'm 5 years old. I don't know what that is. So I go home, later that day, and I'm like, my dad's like, how was school? And I said, older girl jumped in front of me and called me a chink. What is that? And, my dad got very upset, and, he explained to me, that's not a nice name that they call us, I guess, Asians. And from then on, I was like, okay, I was a little bit different. I realized I was a little bit different, and yeah, so that was my that was my first introduction to racism.
And I asked you that question because I'm so curious, right? When I think back to it's very similar age, right, and being in the boys' washroom, and an older kid, right? He must have been, if I was in grade 1 or 2, he must have been about grade 5, 4 or 5, anyways, right? And I used the washroom, and I'm washing my hands in the sink. You remember those? You remember the
troughs?
Yeah, yeah. It's a big circle, right? And you step on it. Yeah, right. So I'm washing my hands in there, and he looks at me, and he goes, black doesn't wash off, right? Yeah. So when I talk about self-perception, right, and how we see ourselves and how it's navigated our lives, so much stuff we bury. And it's me going through this process, like the whole truth framework was to help myself,
Yeah.
right? It was really and truly intended to help myself understand, right, why I do the things I do or the things I don't do. Right? So when I hear your story and I hear my story, and I know there's a lot more out there like that, it sets the tone, right, for how you have to navigate as a child.
Yep.
And then there's, as you get older, right, there's in your adolescence, right, then your parents are telling you, be careful when you're out there. If you're a black youth, in that time you had to be really careful, even though we came from a great neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
It was still very much, you had to be really aware, really aware, right? And I think it wore on me. I really
sure.
do.
For
I
sure.
really do.
Yeah.
It wore on me. And now I reflect in midlife, right? I ask myself the questions, right? Why did I do the things I do? Why was certain things so important, other things weren't, right? And so that just... Is there any more stories like that? Or did it just kind of, that was like your one encounter, or were there more? And I don't want to sit in the pain.
Right.
I just want to get to the place where, we can get to talking about the T in trust and how you trust yourself. But if I don't understand the foundation, then
Right.
I feel like, we're doing the audience and ourselves an injustice.
Yeah. No, there were other moments like that, unfortunately, but not a lot, right?
Okay.
That was my first...
And that was in Windsor.
That was in Windsor, right? Because, after that, there was a couple instances more in Windsor, some little bit of bullying. But then when we moved, I was in grade 7, we moved to Scarborough. So Scarborough was a little bit more multicultural than Windsor was.
Yes.
So I walked in grade 7 in Scarborough, and I walked into grade 7 class, and I was like, whoa, okay, there's more Filipinos, there's more black people.
Yeah.
There's different cultures. And,
anxiety level just came down, right?
Right. Yeah.
The first day of
And
school.
so I was like, okay, cool. And yeah, so growing up in Scarborough and Toronto, yeah, like in school, not so much. I didn't experience too much racism because, like I said, multicultural. And then I went on to Pope John Paul, was a Catholic school.
Okay.
You know, a lot of Filipinos there, very multicultural. So didn't experience too much racism in the school setting. But, you know, out in public, still, you know, that was still the, you know, late 80s, 90s, right? Early 90s. And it was still there. But you know, by then, you know, the skin thickens a bit and we know how to navigate it better.
I hear you. I hear you. Your parents, right? Did they influence you one way or the other? Did they talk to you about being different beyond that point in your, you know, that first encounter? Like, did you feel that at home? And the reason I ask is because I did, right? Like it seemed like it was always something that was being spoken of or about, right? So again, like if it was, you know, or if it wasn't, you know, I'm just curious because I kind of look at myself and I try to figure out how everybody else's, you know, their life and how it unfolded.
Yeah, you know, when I went home that day and told my dad about it, you know, he explained it, you know, comforted me, you know, and told me, you know, there's people like this in the world, you know, there's, you know, just don't know any better, right? But you know, they're devout Catholic, so you know, he's like, okay, you can't handle it with violence. You need to,
Right.
you know, turn the other cheek, but at the same time saying, you know, yeah, we're different from, just like everybody, but you know, being Filipino in a predominantly, you know, white class, you're a little bit different, but be proud of that, right? And you know, some people they just have to learn, you know, other cultures. You know, a lot of people, they're scared of what they don't know. So, you know, just be yourself, you know, be out there, be friendly. And then, you know, once they get to know you, then all their preconceived, you know, thoughts of being different should go away.
I hear you. And, you know, for the most part, a lot of that did, right? With the kids.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Scarborough too, so you know I'm very very familiar with I guess the demographic and how as kids, man, like we just wanted to play.
Yeah.
Right. And we got along, and it's super cool if you can go to your friend's house and have some of their dinner. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Your parents and the if you had to think about the one influence that they had on you, right? How would you like in one sentence, like what would that be to you? What would that look like? Is it something that they say to you on a regular basis, or is it something that was more silent? Like what was it, you know, about your family and that influence?
It was, I would say, like, it's not just one thing. A couple things really stand out and different. You know, my dad always talked about when you do something, you do it right, right? Like, if you're gonna do something, do it right. If you're not gonna do it right, then don't do it, right? So that's a lesson.
I love that.
Stuck with me, right? And you know, I remember, you know, I joke around with my kids too. You know, I come home with a test, you know, 95%. You know, I think, oh, it's great, it's A+, right? He'd be like, where's the other 5%? Right? So, but you know, some people might think, oh, that's pretty extreme, you know. But you know, it's just his way of saying that, look, you know, you can always improve. You should do your best, right? If you do your best, then fine. But that 5%, what could you have done, or what did you learn why you didn't get that extra 5% or that last 5%?
No, it makes
right?
sense.
So that work ethic and, you know, doing the best you can, that definitely came from my dad vocally. My mom is not as vocal, but I can see how hard she worked, right? Working 2 jobs and this and that. So that came like a silent way from her. So that, you know, hard working came from both of them. And then the family. family is very important, right? My dad is the eldest of 8 kids in his family. My mom is number 3 in 10. So we have big families on both sides.
Are they all here?
They are all here.
Wow, that's
right?
wild.
Like my dad's siblings, they're all here in the GTA, and they're all here with us. My mom's, she's lost a few brothers and sisters, but the ones remaining, most of them are here. One's in the States.
So the ones here, just curious, did you all like live really close to one another?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how.
So you got a lot of cousins, buddy.
Oh man, when we have a family party, it's 100 deep, just family, cousins, like blood. I'm talking cousins, first cousins, aunts, uncles, right? And then now my I'm the eldest, right? So all my little cousins have their significant others and their kids. So it's like when we have a family party, we have to start it at noon. And then my dad's family will come for the first half, and then my mom's family will come for the second half, and we go for like 10, 12 hours, man. Yeah.
So has it dissipated over the years, or it's still the same? Like that, what you just described, that still happens?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When we have a family party, like granted, we don't do it as often like we used to when especially when my grandparents were around. But when we still have a family party, like it's to the point now, dude, Christmas, we have to rent out a space. Yeah. And that's just for that's for one side. We don't do both sides Christmas, right? So on my dad's side, we rent out a space to have the Christmas party.
That's insane.
Well,
listen, I know. My wife is half Filipino, so I understand.
Yeah.
We just had a family reunion, right? In Niagara on the Lake, and it was 120 deep, and that was definitely not everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So family is really important.
Yeah. So
to Filipinos.
Family is important.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I love it, right? Yeah. And there's obviously so much good, a little bit bad, but you just take the good with the bad, right?
Or you're trying to just dump the bad stuff.
It's family drama, whatever, right? But yeah, family is important, and I try to instill that, with my kids, right? Like because now, like I said, all my little cousins are getting married and having kids now, so now we literally have a birthday party or a celebration every other week. Right, so as much as we can, we try to attend and be there with the family, right? But it's difficult, man. Like,
that's another thing that impressed me. With you now, you telling me this part is even more, right? Because I looked at it and I said, and we're gonna get into your journey and what you did, but I thought to myself, I'm like, here's this guy that did something pretty incredible in my opinion, because a lot of people struggle. I struggle with it. And he did it all the while being an IT leader, right? He did it being a husband, a father, a hockey dad, a swim dad, right? A DJ, an entrepreneur, right? That list, that's a big list, man. So again, setting the tone and trying to understand the person's family and their background really tells me a lot about the individual. And so when I think about the T in trust, right? How do you? I say this, right? It's how we see ourselves is how we navigate our lives, right? So when I say that, a lot of people will nod, but we don't really like get deep into the how that really all kind of connects, right? So. The truth is, right? You lost a lot of weight, right? You went on a health journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, we went from how much did you lose? Let's start there.
I would say I've lost over 40 pounds now. Wow. Yeah. And been able to maintain it for over a year now, which is huge, because I was always a up and down yo-yo dieter, right?
Well, I was going to ask you that. Was it something, so this weight loss journey that you went on, right? Was the heavier weight something that you always struggled with, or is it something that just kind of crept up on you when you became an adult, if you will?
Yeah, you know what? I think, when I was a kid, I actually was overweight as a kid, you know. And then, but through high school, you know, getting involved with sports, I lost a lot of that weight. And then university worked out, but you know, I could just slowly seeing gaining that weight back, right? And then especially when got married, had kids, it just you know, so it's something that I struggle with. And yeah, it was more like, yeah, when my wife and I started dating, then I just started putting on the pounds, and then we got married, then we had kids,
Yeah,
and then
for
it just
sure.
kept getting worse and worse and worse. And you know, as we get older, it's just harder. You know, when we're younger, we can bounce back, right? But as you get older, it's more difficult.
So do you see your success based on how you, like I said earlier, how you looked in the mirror at the man and said it was time for a change? Or was it more fear? Like, because you know, you'd mentioned to me that, you know, you were at the early stages of diabetes or high blood pressure,
Yeah.
right? So was the fear of getting sick and not being there for your family the catalyst for you to go on this journey, or
Yeah.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%, right? Like, you know, for years, like 20 years, I didn't like the way I look or felt, right? But yeah, the kicker was when my doctor 2 years ago told me I had high blood pressure,
Oh
right?
man.
And he said, you know, I went for my yearly physical. He said your blood pressure is very high. If you don't get it under control, I have to prescribe you medication. And that was the kicker for me because, you know, my grandparents, you know, 3 of them died from heart disease or stroke, right? My uncle, I have uncles and aunts that have had heart attacks and passed away, right? So obviously, you know, Filipino culture, we like to eat, and
Yeah.
so my genetics are not on my side either, right? So when my doctor told me that, yeah, it was fear. It was fear. It was like you said, not being able to be there to, you know, take care of my family. And the big thing is having to be dependent on somebody like my wife or my kids to take care of me if I ever had a stroke or a heart attack or things like that. Like, that's something that freaks me out because, you know, I'm the one supposed to be taking care of them, right? I don't want anyone taking care of me, so I had to make a change.
Wow. Okay. No, that's fair. Thank you for sharing that, because, you know, so many times when the doctors tell us, "Oh, well, you know, there's a pill for that," right? You know, you take it, right? And you mentioned that there was years of the yo-yo diet,
Yeah.
right? Can you tell me, and for those who are listening, you know, what you actually landed on? What was the thing that worked for you?
Yeah, it was actually a friend of mine. He introduced me to intermittent fasting. And, you know, I thought I was intermittent fasting, right? Oh, you just skip breakfast. That's it. And I was doing that, but it wasn't working, right? And so I asked my friend, I noticed he was losing a lot of weight. His energy was up. And I go, what are you doing? He said, I'm intermittent fasting. I'm like, oh, I tried that. It doesn't working for me. And he's like, yeah, I did that too. But I have these tools that help me intermittent fast, help me with my blood pressure, you know, help me with my gut health as well. And I'm like, okay, well, what is it? Because
Yeah.
I need that. Because I
Yeah,
was doing
do tell.
I was doing intermittent fasting, wasn't working. I just knew I was just hungry all the time. And he goes, yeah, take this all natural protocol with the intermittent fasting. It'll make intermittent fasting simple. And then because it's simple, you can stay consistent with it, because consistency is key, right?
Oh yeah,
So I look back,
it is.
I thought I was intermittent fasting, but I wasn't consistent with it. So that was the issue, right?
You know, when I hear that, because, you know, I struggle. As a kid, I was skinny, eh? Like, I could see my heartbeat. That's how skinny I was. Right up until like 21, man. Honest to God.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was a skinny thing, you know? And I fell in love with food, right? And then, like you said, when you get married, you have kids and everything changes. It takes a certain amount of discipline, though, especially coming from, your background in Filipino. I know the Filipinos, right? Like to eat,
Yep.
right? Like to
All
throw a
the time.
spread,
Yep.
right? So walk me through like the discipline too, because I struggle with the discipline, and I think part of it is, I don't know, I like food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No, I hear you.
I like the
hear
taste
you.
of food.
Yeah.
I think there's an emotional connection
Yeah.
to me and food.
For sure.
And because of coming from, my Bayesian background, very similar, right? Love to cook food, love to have family over, right?
Yeah.
So I know that, you say, okay, well, I took the protocol and, it worked for me. But was there a time of trial and error in that? Like, did it work right from the jump, or was it, it took a little time to adjust? Help me out here, Ted.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you because I was the most skeptical, right?
Right.
Because I've tried everything. I've tried the restrictive diets. I've tried, intense cardio. I've tried,
Oh, yeah.
I've tried all the systems, all the protocols, but nothing was working for me because I wasn't consistent with it. I couldn't, maintain it. Right. And this was just another thing. Another system, intermittent fasting, protocol that, probably not going to work. I was skeptical. And, my friend Carlos, who introduced me to me, he said, just do it. Just be consistent with it. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to prove that this doesn't work. So all I did was I really stuck to the intermittent fasting schedule, right? 2 meals a day, first meal at noon, last meal around 7 or 8 p.m., right? And just took the protocol, and I was like, this thing's not going to work. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to prove. I'm going to eat what I want to eat, right? 2 meals a day. It's not going to work. In the first 9 weeks, I lost 18 pounds.
Man, I tried it, and I lost like about 10 pounds.
Okay.
Right? And then I went to the damn
Yeah.
Filipino
Yeah.
family
The
reunion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I just fell right off the damn way.
Well, that's
I'm
the
trying to get
thing.
back on.
Well, that's the thing. When you fall off, you just got to get right
I'm
back
trying,
on, right?
man.
Like
I am
not
trying.
it's
Oh
not
my
about
gosh.
perfection, right? It's about consistency, right? Like I said, it's not what you do sometimes; it's what you do most of the time.
Were you a snacker?
I was big snacker,
That's the thing,
big
eh?
snacker.
Can't bring it in the house.
Mid afternoon snack, right?
man.
And then late
like-
night snack, watching the Raptor
That's the
game or
problem.
something, right? So.
I have so many bad habits.
But then you learn the types of foods to eat during your meals that will make you more satisfied. It'll keep you fuller longer, right?
Yes.
So the thing is, we're addicted to carbohydrates. We're addicted to sugars, right? And just for a little while, you just got to take it away. And when you take it away, your need for them goes down.
When you take the fiber,
Yeah.
right? The problem is it's like the fiber, then all of a sudden, like a couple hours later, it's like, whoa, what's happening down there?
Oh,
right?
That's an adjustment period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't fall off on the weekends and have beer and wings, I just gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing,
that's
right?
the thing.
So that's what a lot of people or some people do is they're not consistent with. They're consistent Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And then they'll take the Saturday and Sunday off, or even Friday, Saturday.
I earn the Friday.
Yeah. I've been so good for 4 days. It's the weekend now, right? So then, if you're doing that from the get-go, you're not healing the gut, right? So you're doing good for the first 4 days, and then you fall off. It's like starting over again, and then people are like, "Well, how come it's not working?" Because you're not doing it consistently enough, right? Give it 90 days, because we got to remember, we're healing our bodies from the inside, and healing takes time, right? It's not a magic potion. It's not a quick fix. Give 90 days. You give it a good 90 days. You heal yourself from the inside, and then you'll be able to, okay, I'll take Saturday, right? I'm good. Saturday, Sunday, and then you can get back on, right? But until you get there, you have to heal the gut. And if you take 4 days is good, 5 days is good, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Okay. I just got to spend more time with Ted.
90 days. Just give it 90 days. Give it a good 90 days. Heal your gut. lower your insulin resistance, and then you'll be able to like loosen the reins a little bit.
Let me ask you this. Losing the weight, did it change like how you felt about yourself? Did it change your self-perception? Did your self-esteem go up? Right? Because I'm just curious, right? Yeah. You know, look, this guy, like, what's your BMI, man? You know?
I don't know. I don't track that. I don't track it.
You know, but
but
you're now looking at the man in the mirror. Like, did it change, you know, how you felt about yourself?
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? Like for the last 20 years, I was like, I look in the mirror and, you know, oh my God, this big belly. I can't even see my jawline. You know, I had body aches and pains, right? And you know, my kids, your kids in high level sports, right? Our daughter was, you know, a competitive swimmer. Our boys play rep hockey, right? And they're athletic. You know, look at them, they're athletic. And then I look at myself and I'm like, man, how am I supposed to be a role model to my own kids? And so, yeah, my self-esteem and, you know.
Well, listen, being in those arenas, as we know, right? I saw a lot of Tim Hortons cups.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You know, and then, you know, just having, you know, drinks with the other parents, right?
Man, yes.
So it just, you
the
know,
restaurants.
The restaurants, the eating out, right? Like I told you, we're in a new market tournament this weekend. We're probably going to be eating out multiple times. So, you know, that just all catches up.
Again, you have this discipline, right? I watch your socials. I saw you at the airport, right? Talking about about I used to have Starbucks. Now I have my drink, right? Like that takes a lot of discipline. But, you know, so my hat's off to you, man.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. But
a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, you know, it just, you know, when you get to that point, you don't want to go back, right? So it's in your head all the time.
And it looked too damn good now.
I don't want to go back to what it was.
Right.
So, you know, like I said, you know, you can loosen it up a bit, but, you know, just keep things in check. And it's just the small changes you have to make. You don't have to do any drastic changes, just small changes, right? Like if I want to have a donut, I just make sure that I have it after my meal, right? So after I have the fiber, after I have my, you know, my proteins, healthy fats in my meal, then I can have the donut, right? Because then my blood sugar won't spike as high, my insulin level won't spike as high, so I can still enjoy it, right? So I never restrict or cut out anything entirely. I just put, you know, foods and drinks in categories, right? You know, these foods and drinks are once in a while. You know, these are, okay, maybe a little bit more. And then, you know, healthier, cleaner stuff, that's what we try to do on a daily.
I didn't ask you this, but did you work out? Did you incorporate working out?
Yeah. So like I said, in the beginning, I was skeptical. I said, in the beginning, I'll only take the protocol. I'll follow the schedule. I won't work out and I won't change what I eat, right? And that's when I lost the 18 pounds in the first 9 weeks. And when I lost that 18 pounds, my body aches and pains went away. So then I was like, okay, this is working. So what can I incorporate to make it better? So then I started some physical activity. So I started walking more. And then I started a little bit of resistance training. And then I just built it up, right? So it's all these small changes, changes to your daily habits. And then when you do it that way, it's more sustainable as opposed to New Year's Eve. Tomorrow I'm doing
the old resolution.
I'm walking 10,000 steps. I'm eating keto. I'm working out. All this stuff, right?
And it lasts for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That was me too. So when you go like the big bang like that,
right,
it usually isn't sustainable. But when you slowly incorporate small changes over time, allow those small changes to become a habit, and then you incorporate another small change, man, within a few months, you've incorporated all these small daily habits, and those small changes turn out to some big results.
There's a lot of good nuggets in what you just shared. Really,
that's what I do now.
Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah.
You'll be in my head tonight as I comb through the cupboard. Ted says I can't eat. I can't eat.
You can eat. It's just
Well, I
specific
can't. I
times.
don't want a snack. I
So,
don't want a
yeah,
snack.
yeah.
I don't want a snack. Let me rephrase that. I do not want a snack.
Yeah.
I do not want a snack. I do not want a snack. Man, thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you're going to inspire some people that are going to listen to this, right? And at the end of it, you can tell them how they can find you on your socials and all of that.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is the part where we start to wind down, right? Because we're taking the T, and we talked about the trust, right? And you trust yourself, right? You trust yourself. You believed in that you could do it, and you stuck with it, right? And by doing that, there's the results, right? So I love that part. But this is the part of the pod where I call it rapid fire.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you 7 questions.
All right.
And of those 7 questions that I ask you, I want you to answer it in 1 sentence or 1 word.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Do my best.
Okay, here we go. Drum roll. What keeps you awake at night?
Work.
Why?
It's just a busy time, and I just want to make sure that my team is good. I know they're getting a lot of pressure, so as the manager, that weighs on me. I want to make sure that my team is good.
You're looking after them.
Yeah.
So it's your second family.
Yeah.
Got it. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Make my tea and work out.
Okay. A song that instantly boosts your mood.
Oh, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson.
I love it. Should the definition of growing up equate to giving up on your dreams?
No.
Okay. One value you will never bend on. Oh, I might have to Ted.
Loyalty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A decision that you would make the exact same way again.
Marrying my wife.
Good answer. Something you're learning about yourself right now.
That question about not giving up on your dreams, that's what I'm learning. I lost my dream, and I'm starting to dream again. And that's why I've gotten involved entrepreneurial in this business, so I can chase that dream again.
I love that. So tell the people where they can find you, Ted.
You can find me on my social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Ted Falcon on Facebook. Like I said, my mission now is to share my health journey and try to help people with their own health journeys, because, especially in our demographic, there's a lot of people struggling with their health, like I was 2 years ago. And you look at globally, we're going through a global epidemic here with obesity and type 2 diabetes numbers on the rise. I just saw a stat from the World Health Organization, the other WHO, that from 1990, type 2 diabetes numbers have quadrupled,
From
and continue to rise. Yeah. Right? Like when we were young, like 50 years ago, type 2 diabetes you hardly heard about it. But last 30 years, it's quadrupled. It's crazy. And we need to do something about it.
Have you posted today?
I have.
Oh,
I went
okay.
on live. I did my TikTok live. I posted. Try to do it every day. To be consistent with it. You never know when you post or when you go on live who you're going to touch or who's going to tune in and just resonate with what you're saying. So I try to do that every day.
Man, thank you for being here today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.
What I love about today's conversation is how clearly it shows that self-perception starts with where we come from. Our families, our cultures, our early influences, they shape the way we see ourselves. And then as we grow, self-perception either strengthens or shakes our ability to trust ourselves. truth isn't just a gut instinct, it's built on self-esteem. When we believe we're worthy and capable, we back ourselves. When doubt creeps in, that's when trust falters. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. What's the one way your family's story still shows up in how you see yourself today? And how does that influence the way you trust your own voice? Because trusting yourself doesn't mean being perfect. It means believing you're worthy of your own choices and learning to back your voice even when the outcome is uncertain. Thank you for listening to the Who Project podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who's learning to trust themselves too. And don't forget, this is just the beginning. Next time we'll explore the second pillar of the Truth framework, root and core values. Until then, keep listening to your voice and keep living your truth.